Welcome to my YouTube. This is episode 1, Sit and Chat. This is just a one-to-one basis on my thoughts, my feelings of this whole prep. Things I can do better, things I can improve on. So I thought I'd go through a little bit about my prep journey, where I currently am, where I started. 14 weeks ago, April 14th, I began my prep, and this was a prep for a photo shoot. So we were prepping for my first ever photo shoot. Bear in mind, this was my first ever dieting phase. I'd never properly dieted before, like I've always done on and off. 7 weeks from the April 14th till June the 1st was how long that first stint of prep was. I think I got down to 76 kg and that was flat, and then we filled out to like 78, I want to say 79, from 84 kg at the start to about 79 kg full. However, we dieted for 7 weeks, and now there wasn't really enough time for grow for a little bit and then drop down for show. So what we chose to do was carry on prepping. So then from 1st of June, we have prepped for another 7 weeks so far. So I'm 14 weeks from the first day of prep, and obviously we've got 8.5 weeks left. Do I think now, looking at it, that it was a good idea? Maybe, maybe not. If this wasn't my first prep, then I'd probably say, yeah, it'll be fine. For my first prep, it definitely hit me with understanding of my emotions, understanding of hunger. However, would I change it and would I go back and do it differently? No, because it has helped me to be the better person that I am today. It's helped me understand so much more about myself and push myself to a limit beyond what I thought I was capable of. I definitely feel that it was the best thing that I've done and the hardest that I've pushed myself and continue to push myself, as we are 8.5 weeks out from my first ever natural bodybuilding show. It isn't easy. It is not easy with the low calories at the moment. So we want to be ready for anything that kind of life throws at us and how my body will react at the time, and then just continue to dial in those last 3 weeks to hopefully bring the best package that we can. So at the moment I'm working on my posing. At the moment I'm continuing to keep intensity high, continuing to improve my overall eating, the cleanliness of my eating. For me, mostly the biggest thing that has changed throughout this whole thing hasn't been my training, it's been my nutrition. Going into the off season next year, at the end of this year, after show, I 100% think that the growth I'm gonna make is so much higher. And the main reason is I have a much better understanding on the foods that my body's receptive to, the variety I can create with my meals. When I was starting, I was definitely on high fat, loads of bread. And I think the main thing before I had Kyle, before I had my coach, I was a calorie tracker. So I wasn't a macro tracker, and I was macro tracking a little bit, but the main thing for me was making sure I got my calories, and that meant that I'd be having meals that were probably much bigger in calories that I needed and not spacing out my macros correct enough, and therefore not having food being in the places that I need it at the time I need it. So not prioritizing pre-workout meals, not prioritizing post-workout meals, not prioritizing my recovery, my sleep schedule. I just wasn't prioritizing. And why? Because I just didn't know. I didn't know that I was necessarily doing anything wrong or anything that I could have done better. And now looking back at it, I was eating poorly. I was having constant yellow plated meals, so not having enough greenery, not having enough mixture in my food, not changing my carb sources. All of these things, I was sticking to just pasta and bread all the time, and having foods that now definitely wouldn't necessarily be having. And that's not a bad thing. It's because I have improved my mental around my food and how I kind of improve eating. I am excited for the next season, the growing season, mainly because of how much more my knowledge in nutrition has improved, just how much more quality tissue I'm gonna push in. But I think the main thing for me is I've never been a big eater. I've never really had the appetite to have loads of binge eating. I've never really been a big junk food person, really. Obviously, growing up in a swimming background, I always had big nutritious meals, cooked meals. Would rarely ever go out for takeaways or things like that, mainly because I was an athlete at the time. So home foods was kind of what I settled at. For me, the main thing this prep has improved is my appetite. I have never been as hungry as I am now. And yes, that's because of the low calories and the low carbs. But the main thing is, like, I now know how to make my appetite bigger and how to improve that and help foods to settle by, like, I never did steps after my meals, which is a routine. I have meal, I'll do steps unless I'm told not to. I'll always try and hit my steps now, which I never really did before. It was kind of like, yeah, I'll hit them, but if I don't, I don't. But now it's like, if I haven't hit them by the evening, I'm going on a quick walk. For me, that's definitely improved, and that's definitely been a massive thing for me. Enough rambling about that, because the growth season will come in the growth season. This is the prep season. We're pushing for a show. Time to get back on topic a little bit. So my thoughts and feelings, up and downs, learning experience, how it's affected me. My thoughts and feelings on this prep so far: it's not easy, it's not for the faint-hearted. However, anyone can do it. You just have to be resilient enough. There's things that I have learned, and the main thing that I always will say: learn to accept being uncomfortable. Learn to be comfortable being uncomfortable, because this is the only way that you are going to improve and the only way that you are going to lose weight. If you're not comfortable with being hungry or being tired, then you're never gonna break that habit and actually get into a point where your body can lose weight. You have to be hungry. You have to sacrifice foods. You have to sacrifice a meal out with your family because you want to look good. If you want to have a meal out every single time that they have a meal out, and they have one every 2 weeks or every week or whatever, your rate of progress is going to be so much slower. But if that's the sacrifice you want to make, that's the sacrifice you want to make. But for me, it was just accepting that I can't have this meal. Like, we're going to a family gathering, cool, I can't eat there. I'll either take my own food and eat that in the car or in somewhere like that, and be accepting of sitting in the car for 20 minutes eating my food before returning to the family gathering. Then I'm happy with that. I'm very happy with that. And that's kind of a mental switch that has changed for me. The main thing is that one is just being okay with not being normal. It's turning up to an event and someone being like, do you have your prep meals today? Yeah, because I need to hit my food. I need to hit my steps. I'm gonna sacrifice it just so I could be socially acceptable or socially normal, because at the end of the day, as bodybuilders, we're not normal. Ups and downs. For me, ups and downs has definitely been controlling my mood and responding to low energy. I've always been someone who, when I'm on low energy or hungry, I will just kind of curl up. I'll become isolated. I'll shut myself off from people. I'll kind of stop talking, stop interacting as much, and just overall being worse of an interactive person. And that was okay with me. Like, I was okay with that, but looking at it, it's not okay to be like that. Yes, it will work. Yes, I'll drive myself. However, at that, I'm sacrificing the relationship I have with my family, the relationship I have with people around me, and my overall just having no friends, no family. Came to a realization that I'm not treating the people around me good enough, and this isolation was only driving myself into a hole, and it was actually throwing the people who were close to me that were in the hole out. So I was just in there on my own, and I didn't want that anymore. The last couple weeks has mainly been me understanding myself, how I react, and being aware. So when I'm really low on energy, or I'm tired, or I've come home from a long day and I know my energy is low, still saying that hi to my parents or having a small conversation, understanding that for them, all they need is a little bit and that'll be enough. All I have to say is, hello, have a quick conversation about my day. And it just makes it so much easier for everyone else. It keeps them happy. So the one thing that my parents hated the most was how isolated I became and how much of a different person I was. I wasn't very chatty. I was barely smiling. I was barely laughing. I just came in, I went to bed. I came in, I had food, I went to bed. Until I broke it. And it was so easy to break. The reason why I think I was struggling so much is because I just wasn't listening to myself, and I was just in such a world of my own that I almost didn't care. And I do care a lot, and these are kind of the little things that I learn every day that will help me to take into next year's prep, and understanding how my body reacts in different situations, in different environments, hunger, tiredness, energy levels, how I react and how I can improve that for next time. And overall, just becoming the better person and becoming a better version of myself, more confident. So this is why I'm doing this. I'm doing this so that I can push myself further. So I've got the bodybuilding, I've got that extreme side of pushing myself. Now what else do I want to do? I want to push myself for content. I want to be more informative. I want to help other people in situations that I'm in. I want to help other people get to situations that I'm in. But also I want to drive myself further so that I have more opportunity to help people and more opportunity to show other people what I have to offer and how I can potentially help them, or maybe even inspire someone else to do what I'm doing. You have to start somewhere before you can get to that place. Improving your physique, improving your nutrition. Each of these starts by turning up. Whether it's improving your gym workouts, you need to go to the gym. You need to turn up to the gym. You need to actually start training to understand this is working. But you don't know how or why it's working until you actually start doing it. So this is the main thing, is understanding that everything that you want, whether it's success, whether it's money, whether it's family, it starts by turning up, and you have to turn up. And this is one thing that I learned the most, and I'm still learning and continuing to improve. Hence why I'm starting this content journey, because episode 1, look at myself when I'm episode 100 or show day. I've turned up. This is day 1. I've broken the cycle. I'm going to try and continue to break the cycle to improve everything, my own responsibilities, my well-being, my day-to-day life. And if I want a sponsorship, if I want a higher following, if I want to be a better bodybuilder, everything starts by actually putting myself out there to get myself in a better position to push myself, to show off what I have to offer and what I bring to the table, basically. So that's kind of my learning experiences. My opinion on my position current, 8.5 weeks out. Mentally, I am starting to get into my head a little bit. And that's okay, and it's good that I'm aware of it. And I think it's important that I'm aware of it, because it means that I understand I'm not quite where I want to be. However, if my coach tells me I'm smashing the check-ins, we are exactly where we want to be, if not ahead, then you've got to take a step back, and you've got to understand that no matter what you think, whether you think you're flat, your coach, and the reason why a coach is so crucial, your coach knows what you want. As simple as that. You might think whatever you want, but you are your own self-critic, and you will drive yourself into the mud if it's you telling you what to do. And having a coach over the last 1.5 years has been something else. Like, it's not just having a coach, it's having a friend, it's having someone who has been where you are and is where you want to be. They are where you want to be. Why would you not listen to them? It's simple. Why would you not listen to them? And this is something that it takes 5 minutes to sit in a calm environment or just talk to a camera, and allows you to understand how grateful you are for these kind of little things in your life. And for me, is being extremely grateful of my coach and how much I've been through with him and how much he's helped me. And it's not just coaching, it's not just training, it's not just just nutrition. It's my everyday life, giving me help in my experiences of my everyday life that he's been through, or preps that he's been through, is what makes a good coach a good coach, because it's not just about the gym. The gym is a tiny margin of a much larger picture, and that's one thing that I've learned with this experience, and one of the reasons why I want that for myself. I want to be the reason someone gets up, chooses to eat a good meal over a bad meal. I want to be the reason that someone actually starts training, because this is what I began with, and I am fortunate to be in the position I am. And this is why you can't be your own self-critic, especially with your physique, because I'll look at my physique and I'll think I'm not where I want to be, or I'll look at my physique and I'll think that I'm not good enough, I'm not lean enough, I'm not big enough. But then I have friends, I have family, I have random people look at me and go, you are massive, you are where I want to be, you have my dream physique. You have people looking at you and saying that you are what they want. Like, you can't be your coach because you won't see what you need to see, and the external factor will tell you. Kyle is honest to me, Kyle will be brutal to me, and that's because he's been where I've been, but he can see every minor change to my body that I can't see. This is kind of the reason why having a coach is so crucial. What do I think is my next steps? 8.5 weeks until show 1. 9.5 weeks until show 2, 11.5 weeks until show 3. My goal is to smash every one, and I have faith in myself. I will be successful because I want it, I know how bad I want it, and I know what to do to get it, and I will not stop, and I will not kind of quit out because I want a junk food meal or I want to splurge out on something. Like, I don't need it. What I know is what I need, and that's to train well, to eat to plan, listen to my coach. It's the most important thing. He knows what he's doing, otherwise I wouldn't be paying him. That's my position. So on that note, I think I'll wrap it up. So thank you very much, guys. If you have stayed and you've listened and you've watched it all, I hope you have a good day. See you for episode 2.